Okay, let's now put together the doors. Now to create the doors, we're going to actually flip back in the history. This probably could have been, this template probably could have been put together right at the start, just after we built the grid system, but it wouldn't really have made a huge amount of sense. So let's do it now. So I'm creating some reference geometry. I'm going to offset it by the right plane, and then I'm going to select, so it's parallel with the right plane, and then we're going to use a vertex from our grid system to align this plane. And on this plane, we're going to draw our skeleton template for our door. Well, now, like I said, we could have done this right at the start, but it might have been a bit confusing, so I've waited to this point in the tutorial. Okay, so we're offsetting by 11 and then 1. So there are different ways we could have done this. So when we build the library profiles for the door, we could add some points to offset, but this is a slightly different way of doing it. I'm just going to use the skeleton, so I've got everything where I want it to be. So we need two doors. We're going to have two doors, so I need to mirror everything that I've just put together. So I need a mirror, something to mirror about. Okay, let's select all the lines, the entities that we want to mirror. We're mirroring them about this central line. It's a copy. There we go. Okay. And this will serve as our template. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's just rename it. Let's call it door template. So if we ever look back, we know what it was at this point. Okay, so there's our door template, skeleton, sketch. Okay, right, so now we need to add some door parts to our profile library. Okay, so, okay, something, okay, yeah, so let's just add some geometry here, just in case we need to match up to the middle. I don't think we will, but it's useful to have. Okay, don't need any more details in our skeleton model. So, right, file, new, part. So, let's go to the front plane, sketch our profile. So, our door is going to have an outer frame holding a middle panel. So this is part of the outer frame profile that's going to surround the panel. It will become clear very soon. So I'm just adding some geometry. So again, I know the geometry I'm looking for. For a tutorial, some of these values are a bit arbitrary, but I know everything is going to match up when I finished meticulously putting together my profile. So I need to fully constrain this sketch. Okay, so everything's fully constrained. I'm happy with my door profile section. Let's select the sketch, go to File, Save As, Library Feature, default to our Weldment Profiles location, which could be different for you if you have a slightly different default location. You need to find your default location for your parts library. So I'm adding a door frame to my Weldment parts library. Now I'm missing a part. I still need the middle of my frame, or the central panel, should we call it. All of these profiles you can just look at as if they are extrusions. So it's going to be 3mm offset. It's a 4mm thick panel. It's going to be 318 long. I know this is all arbitrary at the moment, but it will fit together. And we need a reference point because I'm going to offset this. So when I put this profile, when I fit it to the skeleton, I'm probably going to use this point as my reference point for the skeleton. Okay, I'm happy with that. So we select the sketch, File, Save As, Library Feature. So it's the library part. So it's the door panel. So we've added 2 new parts to our Weldment part profile library. So now we can start making up our door. So yeah, let's just get rid of some of this geometry. We'll just hide a few things just because it's getting quite cluttered in this model now. So let's just, we'll zero in on just the sketch skeleton that we're interested in. Create a structural member, cabinet, parts, door panel, or door frame. Let's do door frame. New group. So we're going to loop it around the skeleton on one side. Okay. Then we need to flip it. We're going to mirror. No, mirror is not help. 90 degrees. Maybe 180. Locate. Make sure we've selected the right corner. I want to align by this corner. And then let's do the second door. Which has behaved quite well. Much better than the first door so far. The profile selected the correct alignment. You didn't have to move anything around. Okay. So that's the surrounding frame for both of our doors. Now we need the central panel. So we already have the template for this. Door panel, new group, and we're gonna 2 new groups, and you'll be able to see are going straight through our existing panels, which is no good. That's not practical. So we're going to need to do an element of trimming here. So let's just change transparency so you can see the issue at the moment. So we've captured our middle panel, but we just need to trim it back. So it's Just need to go trim, use the end trim, bodies for the trim, so our trim bodies, body to be trimmed, it's middle panel, and that's it. Middle panel is trimmed back. And it fits into the slots as intended. Okay, so let's do the same with the other one. So bodies to be trimmed, that's central panel, trimming bodies, these two intersecting pieces, and those second pieces have trimmed quite nicely. Okay, so we've got our two doors. Let's just change the colours of these doors. Let's just bring everything back first, so everything that's hidden can come back. Okay. So let's finally differentiate with some colour. So we want to assign colours by structural member. Go for green for the middle panels, and then let's try a slightly different colour. Yellow, for instance, for the surround. Okay, so those are our doors. So in essence, we've got everything now in terms of weldments for this assembly, or at least weldment assembly. Now the reason why we haven't built this in an assembly as opposed to as a weldment is because we can put together a cutting list. So this is a singular part which you could take that cutting list, put it into a drawing, and reel off a table of parts. Okay, let's now add some accessories. We need some hinges, but we also need some door handles. First, let's create some relief cuts for our parts. So in this side panel or end panel, I'm going to draw a sketch for mounting our hinges. Now I'm going to place one hinge towards the top, one hinge towards the bottom. I'm just creating some geometry. Let's separate these hinges, or these hinge relief cuts. So we're just adding some definement. Definement, is that even a word? Definition. Okay, so 3mm. I'm going to attempt to mirror what we're doing here so we can cut the other panel as well at the same time. So I've fully defined my geometry for my relief cuts. Let's also add a fixing hole for our handle. Okay, let's mirror those entities. So let's mirror everything about this central line, because we know our cabinet's symmetrical. Okay, now let's extrude cut these relief parts out. So through all, but we'll select the correct bodies, and let's just select this panel, that panel. So all the panels that we want to cut. Okay, so there's our relief for mounting a hinge. Okay. And our holes. Right. So file, insert parts. We've got some pre-made parts that we're just going to put in position. They're really just for decoration. So we're going to align those inserted parts. So we're going to create some mates. Alignment mates, these are. So face for alignment, secondary face for alignment. Click add. So this face at the back and that face on the frame. Add that mate. One more coincidence mate, and that should finish this part off. Okay, so now we're located happily within the relief section. Let's insert one more. Insert this hinge, and we will again create some mates straight away. Just mating faces that should be mated. It's not an assembly as such. We are in a part modeling file, but these are location mates. Okay, so let's just turn on this missing door structural member. Okay, so we've got an intersection. So what's happened here is we've slightly miscalculated our profile relief. So we need to make this profile relief section larger by 2 mil. So let's go back. Into our cut extrude, which was our relief. And let's find the 3 mil dimension and add an extra couple, not to 55. And when we close this, we should see the spring is aligned as it would be. Okay. Let's insert the hinges for the other side. Let's just do the same the other side. So we add the hinge as an inserted part, create our location mates. And we're happy with this part. The final hinge. Okay, So just creating our final alignment, location, features. Okay, so all of our hinges are now aligned in position, and because we mirrored these hinge reliefs, then the adjustment we've just made has followed through on both doors. Okay, so now let's add our handles. So file, insert, part, and we've got a left hand and a right hand handle. Let's make sure we get them right. Okay, so we're creating some mates for locating the part. So we're looking for 3 mates that would be useful in locating. Okay, let's add the second handle. Let's use this location mate. Let's make it concentric. Again, flip it because we didn't want it the other way around. Okay, so that's our secondary location point. So we just concentric around the barrel, and then we just mated one face just for locating. If we remove the rear panel, you can see that these 2 handles are aligned, and using the central leg to close the door and remain locked.